So the overall goal is to reinvigorate job creation and poverty reduction by steering the economy back to its high growth path. And more importantly, through economic transformation for a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient society. Economic transformation for a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient society. And that transformation will be evident in the economy, the social sector, institutions, and the environment. There will be greater digitalization, including government processes, and an ubiquitous digital economy. The social sector will also be transformed to ensure that every Filipino is able to reach his or her full potential and be adequately prepared to cope with shocks. And even in the social sector, we also want this value chain mindset, where we realize that it's a matter of accumulated investments in human capital and social services, beginning with the baby in the womb, at birth, through infancy, the first 1,000 days, and so on. And that's how each and every Filipino will realize that full potential. Then economic transformation will come by way of having a very vibrant innovation ecosystem. And we want this to result in new ideas, products, and processes that will spawn new markets, new businesses, and of course, more jobs. The transformation will also consider the environment as an active partner of development, and that we need to make sure that it's able to perform its functions of provisioning, regulating, supporting, and even the cultural functions very efficiently and sustainably. And so this is now the strategic framework of the PDP 2023 and 2028. So, as mentioned, it focuses on an 8-point agenda. Actually, it's an 8 plus 8 plus 8, but we just term it the 8-point agenda. So, there are a number of strategies that are intended to address the immediate issues of inflation, the economic and social scarring, and our fiscal situation. And so, amid continuing fiscal pressures from both global and economic sources, already elaborated by the previous speakers, we really want to address this inflation, looking at the prices of food, looking at the impact on transport and logistics that also actually cascade into high prices of food, and then also, of course, this fuel supply. So we will be coming up with strategies that will reduce this food inflation in the short term. Some of them will really be in terms of providing subsidies to the producers of food in terms for the fertilizers and then the fuel, and then some of them will be in terms of conservation in terms of our fuel consumption, like flexible work arrangements, active mobility, transport. But of course, in the medium and longer term, it's really about increasing productivity in the food sector, increasing the efficiency of our transport and logistics, and then finding alternative, diversified sources of fuel so that we reduce that dependence on imported fuel. And then on the vulnerability and addressing the socioeconomic scarring, we are looking at the health sector. We really need to improve our health systems, the capacity, and also the way it's distributed all across the country. And then it's located all across the country. And then, of course, our social protection. We need to modernize our social protection systems and rationalize all these programs on social protection. And then the learning losses. We're happy that there is now that decisive move to go back to a face-to-face learning. But I suppose in the upper education, higher education, we really need to make sure that we are prepared for other modes of learning. And then over the medium term, it's about creating more jobs, creating more quality jobs, better quality jobs, and then the green jobs. So it's really about promoting investments, promoting trade and investments, having that good business climate so that we will have more of this job generation investments, and then increasing the employability of our Filipino workforce, and then providing new sources of of job generation or platforms for growth, like the digital economy, and then, of course, R&D and innovation, which I already mentioned earlier. And then also the creating green jobs. Again, having that platform for us to create more of these green jobs, like having these livable and sustainable communities. There will be avenues for retooling and reskilling, and that is how we will be increasing the employability of our workforce. Now, these strategies on creating more jobs, quality jobs, and green jobs will be supported by enhancing implementation of the national competition policy, which was actually signed as an executive order, I think 2 months before the end of the previous administration. So it's also about the accelerated operationalization of those amended laws governing foreign investments, like the Public Service Act, the Foreign Investment Act, and the Retail Trade Liberalization Act. And then, of course, the bedrock also of these strategies will be founded on a peaceful and orderly society where human rights and economic and social cultural rights are actually observed, and our sovereignty and territorial integrity will be upheld. So it's really about using as base all those lessons learned and all those successes from the previous administrations, and then addressing those losses, those carrying, and that is what will propel us going forward.